Okay, so now we are going to do scene 4 to scene 7, I believe, which is the whole act of Macbeth, the whole of the first act of Macbeth. So let's just start here with scene 4, a room in Duncan's place at Forest in Scotland. Okay, so palace, not place. Okay, flourish into King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Lennox, and attendants. So Duncan says, is the execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in commission yet returned? So he's asking if MacDonald, who was obviously the Cawdor, if he has been executed yet, and if the executioners have returned. So Malcolm says, my liege, they are not yet come back, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons, so he confessed his wrongdoing against the king, implored your highness's pardon, asked for forgiveness, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving it. He died as one that had been studied in his death, to throw away the dearest thing he owed, as 'twere a careless trifle. So he died bravely and well, threw his life away as if it didn't matter. Duncan, there is no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. So you cannot, just by looking at someone, you cannot tell if they're good or bad. And he trusted this guy, and he was a bad person. So then it says, enter Macbeth, Banquo, Ross, and Angus. So then it says, oh, worthiest cousin. So he's greeting Macbeth. The sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so well before, the swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserve, that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have lived to say, more is thy due than all can pay. So he's basically saying he owes Macbeth more than he can pay, and so Macbeth sort of thinks oh, that makes me king in a way, he's gonna make me king. So Macbeth says, the service and the loyalty I owe, in doing it pays itself. Your highness's part is to receive our duties, and our duties are your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should, by doing everything save toward your love and honor. And he was saying, I was just doing my job, and your highness's part is to receive what we do for you. So Duncan says, welcome hither. I've begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, thou hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart. So you are like a little tree. I'm going to feed you to grow an oak and make you great. Okay, so he just wants to grow him and hug him and whatever. Banquo, there if I grow, the harvest is your own. So Duncan says, my plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and those and you whose places are nearest know. We will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, which honour must not unaccompany invest in him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers, from hence to Inverness, and bind us further to you. So he's feeling so happy, he wants to cry, and Malcolm has been named the next king and not Macbeth. So it says here, royalty talks in plural form, we, as in I. He will spend the night on his journey and will be entertained. Okay, so they're having a gathering at Macbeth's house, and they've told Macbeth's wife that they're on their way. She must start preparing for a feast. So Macbeth says, the rest is in labor, which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger, and will make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave. So basically saying he's going to go home to tell his wife that they are coming over and that they need to prepare a feast. So Duncan says, my worthy Cawdor. So Macbeth aside says, because now keep in mind, the king has just said that his son has gotten the title of the prince, which means the next king. So Macbeth says, the Prince of Cumberland, that is a step of which I must fall down or else overleap. So he's saying he must forget that he won't be king or overcome that he can be king. For it in my way lies, stars hide your fires, let not light see my black and deep desires. So he's basically saying that the good must not show his dark wishes now, because now he's doing bad things. He has these horrible, evil desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see off. So he doesn't want anyone to see his evil thoughts. And then it says, your Duncan, true worthy Banquo, he is full so... Wait, I don't know if I skipped a page, maybe. No, I did not. Okay. True worthy Banquo, he is so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to me. Let's after him, whose care is gone before to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kingsman. So, flourishing off. So now they're going to Macbeth's castle. So scene 5, a room in Macbeth's castle. At an Inverness in Scotland, enter Lady Macbeth alone with a letter. Lady Macbeth reads, they met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report that they have more in them than mortal knowledge. So this is a letter that Macbeth wrote to her about being Thane of Cawdor and the witches and their prophecy. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, so they disappeared, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me and referred me to the coming on of time with Hail King that shalt be. Thus I have thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart and farewell. Glamorous thou art and Cawdor and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet I do fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not with ambition, but without illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou wholly would not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou'dst have great glamours, that which cries, thou must do if thou have it, and that which rather thou'dst fear to do, than wishes should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valour of my tongue, that all impedes from the golden rounds, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. An attendant enters. So Lady Macbeth, because she was busy reading the letter, says, what is your tidings? So the attendant says, the king comes here tonight. Lady Macbeth says, thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him, who, weren't so, would have informed for preparation? So the attendant says, so please you, it is true, our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who, almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message. So Lady Macbeth says, give him tending. So he's very tired. So she's saying, look after him, he's bringing great news. Attendant off. The raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me, from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty, make thick my blood. Stop up thy access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my foul purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breast, and take my milk for guile. You murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief, come, thick night, and pour thee in the dumbest smoke of hell, the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark, to cry, hold, hold. Enter Macbeth. So, Lady Macbeth wants Macbeth to be king, because that means she'll become queen. So she is hungry and wants blood. So she wants to kill Duncan, so that Macbeth will become king. She is willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of the king. And she's basically saying to dark spirits here, make me not like a woman. Like, she's basically saying, make me a witch, make me, take away my human emotions, that kind of thing. So she says, great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both, by the all hail hereafter, thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant. So she's saying in King Hereafter, the King Duncan is on his way, and I can almost taste the future. So Macbeth says, my dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight. Lady Macbeth, and when goes hence? So she's asking, when does he leave? Macbeth says, tomorrow as he purposes. So Lady Macbeth says, oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is a book where men may read strange matters to beguile the time. Look like the time, bear welcome in your eye. Things couldn't be more perfect. She's basically saying we're going to kill him tonight. So she says, your hand, your tongue, look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. So she's basically saying, you must be like a beautiful flower, accept Duncan in, be a very good host, but be the serpent that's underneath the flower. So look like you have all good intent, but know that you have bad intent. So then she says, he that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign away and masterdom. So Macbeth says, we'll speak further. He's not sure about killing Duncan, so you'll talk about it later with her. So Lady Macbeth says, only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me. Off. Okay, I'm going to take a break and then I'll do more analysis. Okay, so scene 6. Outside Macbeth's castle at Inverness in Scotland at sundown. Hautboys and torches enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, Ross, Angus, and attendants. So Duncan, this castle hath a pleasant seat, the air nimbly and sweetly recommend itself unto our gentle senses. So Duncan's basically saying, this house is so lovely, I feel very welcome here. He's basically complimenting them on their atmosphere. So Banquo says, yeah, this guest of summer, the temple hunting marlet does approve, by his loved masonry, that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No judge he frees, but in us all coin of vantage. But this bird hath made his pendant bed and broken cradle, where they most breed and haunt. I observed the air is delicate. Okay. So Macbeth has 3 reasons that he doesn't actually want to kill the king. What goes around comes around. He should be protecting his guests, be a good host, and the king is his cousin. So you got to remember that, especially this one here. He has to be a good host. So enter Lady Macbeth. So Duncan says, see our honoured hostess. The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which we still thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God yield us for your pains and thank us for your trouble. So he thanks Lady Macbeth for her welcoming. And Lady Macbeth says, all our service in every point twice done and then done double. We're a poor and single business to contend against those honours deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house, for those of old and late dignities heaped up to them. Ye rest your hermits. So Duncan asks, where's the Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, sharp as a spur, hath holp him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight. So see here, they say, we are your guests tonight. So that's why Macbeth feels terrible of having to kill Duncan in his own home, because you must remember now, when you invite someone into your house, you are inviting them into your safe space. And like if you were hosting a guesting, your guests would want to feel safe, like you've taken them into your care. So for you to kill them is it's bad. So Lady Macbeth says, your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs incompte, to make their audits at your highest pleasure, still to return to your own. So Duncan says, give me your hand, conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess. So he kisses her hands and leads her into the castle. Scene 7, a courtyard in Macbeth's castle at Inverness in Scotland. Hautboys and torches. Enter a server directing various servants who pass the dishes and service across the stage. A sound of feasting is heard from within. Enter Macbeth. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well. If it were done quickly, if the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, but this blow might be the be-all and end-all. Here, upon this blank shoal of time, we jump the life to come, but in these cases we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. Here's the double entrust. First, as I am kingsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, so he's saying, so this is him thinking about killing Duncan, why this is him here saying why he doesn't want to do it. Then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife himself. So he's saying here, I am his family, and family don't kill family. He's also saying here, the poison glass will come back to him, so he'll end up drinking his own poison. And he says here, as the host, if there's a murderer, I am to shut the door against him. So shut the murderer out, not be the one who kills. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculty so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation I was taking off. So he's saying that Duncan is such a great king that his death won't go like unnoticed, like everyone will know that something is up. And pity, like a naked newborn babe, striding the blast or heaven ship, horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horror deed in every eye, that tear shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which overleaps itself and falls on the other. So, enter Lady Macbeth. So, Macbeth doesn't want to go through the plan, and Lady Macbeth actually gets angry with him and manipulates him, and you'll see why now. So he says to her, how now, what news? So Lady Macbeth says, he has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber? So she's basically saying he's almost done eating dinner. Why have you left the room? So Macbeth says, hath he asked for me? And Lady Macbeth says, no, you not, he has. Then Macbeth says to her, we will proceed no further in this business, meaning we're not going to kill him. He hath honoured me of late, and I have brought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest glass, not cast aside so soon. So Lady Macbeth says, was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time shall I account thy love, thou art afeard, to be the same in thine own act of valour, as thou art in desire, wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not, wait upon I would, like the poor cat Etheridge. So, did you say these things because you were drunk, or did you really mean it? She calls him a coward and attacks his manlyhood because she knows it would get to him. I'm sure if someone attacked you like that, you would also take offense and you would want to prove yourself differently. Like if someone says you to chicken to do something, you're probably going to do it to prove to them that you're not. So Macbeth says, prithee peace. I dare not do that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. Please be quiet. A man who dares for mere is not a man at all. So Lady Macbeth says, What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? Saying, what possessed you to tell me you wanted to be king and then you back down? So, when you durst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did it then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that's their fitness now. Does that unmake you? I have given suck, and I know how tender 'tis to love that babe that milks me. I would, while it is smiling in my face, have plucked the nipple from its boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as to have done this. So she's saying, if she had a baby feeding on her, and she knows how tender it is to love the baby that's like you breastfeeding, and that's your baby, but she would, while it is busy smiling at her, take it and bash its brains out. If she said to Macbeth she would do it. So Macbeth says, and if we should fail? So Lady Macbeth says, we fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, so you'll sleep nicely because of this day. His two chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince, that memory, the water of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only. When in Swinish sleep, their drenched natures lie as in a death. What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quarrel? So Lady Macbeth is saying she'll get Duncan's guards drunk, and then when they wake up and see that Duncan is murdered, they will believe that they killed him, because she's going to put blood on them, and because they won't remember it because they were drunk, they're going to be the ones that are suspected for killing Duncan. So Macbeth says, bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted metal should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with the blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, and used their very daggers, that they have done it? And then Macbeth is saying it's a good idea, what Lady Macbeth is saying. So she says, who dares receive its other, as we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death? So she was saying, who would question him? Saying no one would have courage to question him. They will grieve over him to look innocent. So Macbeth is saying, I am settled and bent up, each corporal agent to this terrible feat away, and mark the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know. They return to the banqueting chamber. His mind is made up, but in the meantime he must appear friendly, and to be good hosts, the heart and face must hide the plan. Okay, so that is Act 1 done, and I think that's where we're going to end for today. So I hope that helped.